What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bench Warmers. I'm your host JJT with Komish Eric. We are back for another batch of depth chart analysis. Today, we'll probably get right into it. We have lost the LA Clippers, the LA Lakers, Memphis, and Miami. Komish, are you ready to get into it? Let's just
Yes, let's
get
go.
into it. Um,
I think
the
the Clippers are the first team, and they're
yeah,
definitely the deepest team. So, lots of questions with the starting five. Do you have Jackson or Wall starting? That's the first question right away.
I have Jackson starting.
Okay, I agree. I agree with that.
Wall's coming off a rest season. I think they'll ease him in slowly. Plus, he's probably gonna be good off the bench. Um, yeah, the interesting thing here is that if you look at this, Reggie Jackson, Norm Powell, Paul George, Kawhi, and Zubac, it's not a big lineup. I don't think Kawhi starts the power forward. I think he's pretty small for that position. Um, I might see Norm Powell coming off the bench.
Yes, I agree. He comes off the bench, and I have Nick Batum starting at power forward like last year.
Yeah.
It's either Nick or Marcus Morris, but they don't need any more scoring. I think in that starting five with Paul George, Kawhi there. I think Batum fits that starting five very well. Uh, I go Batum. I go Batum as a fifth starter.
Yeah. But I know it's crazy to talk about Batum, but is he going to be relevant fantasy wise as a starter?
No, I don't have a lot of Clippers really. I mean, it's so deep. This lineup is really deep because if you have Norman Powell, you have Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, John Wall, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington off the bench. We're at the number what? This is the 15th team. We're half. Is that correct? Yeah, we're around half. And the 19th team, I think. This is the
Yeah.
19th team. So we've seen depth charts that are like very shallow and some team deeper, but this one is really deep. This team is
Yeah,
a lot
because
of
if
good
you think
players.
about it, last year, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Amir Coffey even were players with, played, had fantasy relevance. Of course,
Hmm.
Marcus Morris was also, part of that. So now, with the addition of Kawhi, pretty much all of those guys loses their some fantasy value. I guess the tougher, I think it's not as difficult to not draft players like Man, Kennard, right, and Marcus Morris, but players like Norm Powell, who's been so good, um, Robert Covington. I'm sure lots of managers are fans of this guy. How do you treat these guys? Are they still draftable at a certain range, outside 100 maybe? I mean, Norm Powell is top 70, top 80 when he plays, right? Even
Yeah,
higher.
but Norm is around
He got
137.
injured. I think he got injured
He
last
got
year as
injured.
well.
He's 137 right now, and I can't say. I
It's
mean,
hard to say it's too low.
yes, given the situation, but it's low. I think you can consider Norm Powell higher than that, even with this depth chart, because he's good. He's a good player, but not the Norm Powell like before, a top 100 pick. Robert Covington is
Covington.
106. So Covington is going outside the 100 mark, which is also just right. My problem with Covington here is he doesn't have center eligibility anymore,
Mm.
which hurts him, which hurts him a lot actually in leagues. So maybe Yahoo changes that, but as of now,
No, they
he's small
won't.
forward,
I
power
mean,
forward.
I think that's just right.
But if you look at it, one hole if there is about this Clippers team is the lack of a backup center for Zubac, and I see Covington being that person. I mean, unless you trust Moses Brown or Diabate.
No, Marcus
So
Morris can play center.
Morris can play center, but I think Covington will play center also. So Covington has been playing small ball five since Portland days. So he'll play there this year. So I think he should get a center eligibility from Yahoo sometime this season. But as of now, he doesn't have it. He's at
But do you
106.
still like Covington over Norm Powell?
Yes. I like Covington over Norm Powell. I see, as I said, Powell's Powell's positions, Paul George, Kawhi can play three, Terrence Mann, Kennard, even Brandon Boston was okay last year as a rookie. And then of course the two point guards that are good. There's just so many players there. So many players. Batum can even play three. Unlike Covington, I see some chance there because as I said, there's no backup center. And even if you put Marcus Morris as a backup center, who's gonna be the power forward aside from Batum? So there is a little opening there for Covington more than Powell. So I think Covington is still better over Powell for me.
All right. So yeah, Paul George, Kawhi. I we talked about them before, but this time maybe a little more detail into where do you see them getting drafted now?
Okay, Paul
Because
George is going 20. So what do you think of that?
20 is fair. Maybe some would see it a little low, but
A
again,
little low.
there's
A little low.
a risk. There's a risk as well with him coming off an injury. But that's yeah, I can see it a little low. But I can also see why he's dropping. He's dropping to 20
Yeah,
because
actually
a lot
20
of
30.
managers are frustrated as well with him. We were
Yeah,
frustrated
but
last year.
but his injury was an elbow injury. That was a rare injury supposedly. Um, I agree with you. Managers are frustrated, but I still see it's too low. I'm actually one of the players I'm considering at 14 is Paul George. Um, I think I think he's healthy. He's like a Lillard for me.
Again, that range, that 13, we're gonna go back to that. That 13 to 20 is going to be tough because there are players there who has really good ceiling like Paul George
Paul George, yeah.
and Kawhi, right? I mean, those players have first round ceiling, but there's risk, and the risks are too high as well. So there are lots of players there. I mean, Butler is one of those. I mean, Jimmy Butler, we'll talk about Miami later on, but he's also one of those players who's gonna have.
Butler and Kawhi are the players
AD is
real.
there. I mean, AD is there.
Yeah, but they are the players who are dropping. Actually, Kawhi is not with the AD group that we first mentioned when we first recorded that episode. They've changed. Kawhi is at 34, and the ADP is at 30s for Kawhi. So,
Which I think is
too low.
nice for
Yeah,
it's not it's not high risk, I guess. I mean, that's
34.
okay. Yeah, maybe that's okay. The ceiling is first round.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, if you pick him 40 plus, that's even better, of course. But
But but here's the thing. Kyrie, Kawhi, the same thing, right? Ceiling first round. But I'm more sure Kawhi won't reach 60 games.
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
100%
That's
sure he's
true.
not
So
gonna
if
reach
you, if
60.
again, Kyrie shouldn't be dropping to the 40s.
Yes.
He should not.
Yes.
He should not. So yeah, there. I mean, these two players are the tough choices that you'll be facing there in the late second, early second round, late first. But yeah, it depends on how risky you'd want to pick them. John Wall,
No, I'm not
you're
picking
not
John
picking
Wall.
him. The
No,
ceiling is second round. No, just kidding. No, that was before.
I know he was how good he was before, but he's coming here to play a role. He's not coming here to. If he went to the Lakers, maybe you would say like they need him. They need a lot of help. They need everything. There's a system in place already with the Clippers. That's not for John Wall to go one on one. That's not how the Clippers play. We know that that's not Ty Lue's system. Well, that was his system with LeBron. But I mean, now has a deep team. That's gonna be it. So maybe in deep leagues, like last pick kind of a player, yeah, I could see that. But Not someone I'm very excited about, John
Yeah.
Wall.
All right. So, any other players who you think will surprise here?
Nah. I would say Zubac is 80th. I find that a little high, but given the lack of competition, that sounds okay. But if you're asking for a youngster, a sleeper, or anything, none. It's just so, it's just a super strong team already that any youngster will have a hard time cracking the rotation daily.
Yeah. Of course, the Clippers are one of the top teams favorites to win it all this year,
Favorites. Yes, favorites.
assuming that they keep their health in check. Let's move on
Let's
to the
go,
Lakers.
Lakers.
All right, so Lakers starters. Westbrook. I was just listening to a podcast about whether they'll start Pat Beverly or not. I don't think they start Pat Bev. I think Pat Bev knows his role. Um, but
They'll
yeah,
start him. They'll
they'll start
start
him
him.
at 2.
Not at 2, at 1. Westbrook will not start. Westbrook will
No,
not start.
that's impossible.
Uh,
Or maybe
I
you're anticipating Westbrook will not even wear a Lakers uniform before the
No,
start.
Brian Windhorst just mentioned yesterday, a while ago, that the Lakers have decided to play him and not do the John Wall route of sending him home. But the fact that it was a discussion makes me think that they want him to play, but he'll play a role. And Pat Bev will start. I'm sure of that. He will start. He will start with LeBron. He will start with AD. The three of them, I'm sure, will start. I just don't know if Westbrook will be part of that group or not. I think Austin Reeves will start, and I think it's gonna be Thomas Bryant. That's who I think will
All
start.
right. So, given that, do you think Westbrook surprises us this year in a
No,
good way? In a good way, because
no,
last year, 2 years ago, he was really good. He surprised a lot of managers. He was good. Last year, he surprised a lot of managers by how bad he was. Um, this year, playing a role. You
no.
said he might be playing a role. Fantasy wise, is he still a viable fantasy option?
Never been a viable fantasy option for me. You know how
Even
much I
two
don't.
years ago, the triple doubles, the counting stats.
That was a stretch. That was good, but no, he for one, if he knew how to play a role, he won't be in this predicament. Number one, he as they said, he's the new age Allen Iverson, right? That's what happened to AI.
At least Allen Iverson can shoot.
The problem with AI was AI, suddenly was not that good, and then he didn't want to play off the bench. He didn't want to be a complementary player. Carmelo was the same situation before he started. He finally learned to when he went to the Lakers. So Westbrook,
When he
the
when
kind of
no one
attitude
signed
he
him.
has, the personality, it will be hard for him to play a role. That's one. Number two, fantasy wise, even if he plays a role, lots of holes and problems with this game that no thanks. And then there's a possibility he gets traded sometime in the season.
Which might be a
And
good
there's no
thing.
team. What?
Which might be a good thing, right?
No. Which team would give him the minutes he wants, the role that he wants? There's no team. None. None. If it was Indiana plans to,
No, no, not
just,
Indiana. I'll try to find a team.
it's like this. He gets traded. He probably gets bought out. If he gets bought out, someone will sign him for the minimum. And you think someone who signs him for the minimum will give him a a big role? He's a point guard. There's no contender out there that needs a point guard. Well, of course, there might be a contender who loses a point guard to injury some part of the season, but still, even if they do that, then they sign Westbrook. It's a contender. They won't allow him to do what he did before. So I'm not drafting him at all. Not even at 130 or 140. I'm not drafting him at
Wow.
all.
So yeah, the word of caution from Kumish about Westbrook. So yeah, no go
But
for Westbrook.
no go. You're a Laker fan, right?
Yeah, we are.
So
Aren't
aren't you
you?
sad looking at this depth chart after looking at the Clippers depth chart? I mean,
Well, it's the start of the season. Everyone's 0-0. As a fan, you're gonna be this is the most optimistic that you will get. Because everyone's 0-0. Everyone's about to start, and everyone, it might be better than what we expect.
something that can make them a contenders right away is replacing the J in the Scottie Pippen Jr. to S. Make it Scottie Pippen Sr. Then that will make them contenders right away. But
Yeah.
ah, it's so
But
depressing.
this is going to be another hard year for LeBron. But fantasy wise, it could be good for LeBron. If he stays healthy, which he has, really, to be honest. You have to be impressed with how LeBron is health wise. He's been there. He's been very reliable, available every time, pretty much every time,
So here's
despite the
my question
age.
to you: 14th pick, you have it. LeBron's on the LeBron or not?
Who
Simple as
are the
that.
other choices? Give me
Well, the
choices, though.
normal, the usual choices. I mean, you're number 14. LeBron
Yeah,
is there.
I think we talked about this. I can consider him at the 14.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
um, I'm not even sure if I'll take Anthony Davis over LeBron.
That's another consideration. Yeah.
Do you take
Well,
Anthony Davis over LeBron?
why do you have to choose? You have 14 and 15. Go LeBron and AD, right? No, but
No.
I have, as I said, I have the 14th pick. I'm going LeBron. I'm going LeBron. As of now, it's LeBron. LeBron's my pick there.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because again, another player who has already moved down the ranks and now has moved back up. Uh,
Yeah.
just because so many players are moving down the ranks.
And
Um,
because he was good last year. He was
yeah,
really good last year.
yeah, but
LeBron.
he's been good pretty much every year, other than the
But more
injury
so last
year.
year.
I think,
But more so
yeah,
last year.
last year was impressive because he
Yeah.
literally tried to carry the Lakers to the playoffs. But yeah, Anthony Davis out of the first round for sure.
If you're in a 12
But
team,
is
yes.
but is he
For
still a value at early second round? Because last
not
year
as
we felt
big
like
value, not as big as last year. He was also in that range, if I'm not
he was in the
mistaken.
late first round,
Late first round, but
10 to 10 to 40.
sometimes he fell. Sometimes he fell out of it, but he was higher a little bit last year, a little bit. And then people were saying it's value, value, value because it's a first rounder, it's a first rounder. This year is 16, 17. I don't hear that word as much. Value, value, value. And I agree because even a healthy Davis, I think, might be just around 10, 11. So it's not that far off. So not as value anymore at 16 or 17. But someone to consider also at 14 onwards. Someone to consider.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Other players who might have fantasy value here.
Pat Bev. Pat Bev is one. We talked about him in
Actually, if he
the
really starts,
trade.
okay, if he really starts, I
Yeah.
think that he's gonna get really nice value.
He
Pretty
he
similar
should
to how he was last year.
he should get a lot of threes and steals. So I like his fit with LeBron. That's for sure. He's someone who knows that, I'll stay out of your way. Just give me an open 3-pointer. I'm going to defend the hell out of the best defender and I'm going to get steals and everything. So my point the last time we talked about him is the injuries of Pat Bev in and out of the lineup. So that's a worry. But he's going to have fantasy value, as I said before. He's going to have fantasy value. And then the center position. That's the only other thing that we can really talk about here is who starts, Damian Jones or Thomas Bryant. One of them who starts, if it's Damian Jones especially, he becomes one of a good late round big man target because of how good he was with Sacramento. He can shoot threes, remember? He can block,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
can rebound. So this guy is a sleeper for me, Damian Jones.
How about the shooting guard position?
Nah, pass. Austin Reeves is good, but not fantasy wise. Not fantasy
All
wise.
right, so those are your Lakers. Uh, so sad watching them. So let's just move on to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Another
Big
interesting
injury.
team. So starters.
I guess the only question is a power forward, right? With JJJ out.
Yeah.
Do you have Clark?
Did he start last year?
I think so. I think he started last year. Or was it Kyle Anderson? It was Kyle Anderson. It wasn't him. It was Slow-mo, Kyle Anderson, who started last year. So Kyle is gone. JJJ is injured. I think he should start. I think. Not sure, but I think.
It's hard. I can also see Zaire Williams start because he's had some starts last year. I mean,
Not as power forward though. I mean, he's too thin, I think. Right?
they'll start him
I
as small
mean,
forward or
he
can
started at small forward last year, Zaire Williams, not as power forward. So I'm not sure that they would
you know
do that, starting him at power forward.
skill wise, Brandon Clark should start skill wise. But
Yeah.
sometimes these teams would want to get some of those better skilled players in their second unit just so they can have a little more depth there, considering that they have a strong first unit. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if Clark comes off the bench. Either way, though, I think Clark gets nice value with
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr. out. Whether he starts or not, I'm not sure because I can also see him coming off the bench because he's played that role ever since. So
Yes.
why not
Yes.
just keep him there and just let's just start someone else, even if they're a rookie or what, or
Yes.
maybe Tillman or maybe Kenneth Lofton Jr. or
No,
whoever.
no. Lofton is probably their 16th man here, but Jake LaRavia, that's their first rounder. Jake
Where?
LaRavia, he
Wait,
could
where's
start.
he?
He's in a small forward position.
All right.
Just remove Danny Green there. Danny Green won't play for them anyway. Jake LaRavia, he's kind of a slow Kyle Anderson kind of player. He's not that tall, but he's very versatile. He's bulky. He can shoot. He can shoot threes. So he's a big who could shoot threes. So if you want someone who plays like JJJ, of course you can't block like JJJ, but someone who can give you spacing from the power forward position. So it could be him. It could be Zaire, as you said, even if he's thin, but he has the experience. Maybe he bulked up. We haven't seen him yet, so maybe
Yeah.
he bulked up also. So that's possible. But I agree with you, Brandon Clark, whether it starts or not, going at 90s, I think that's very good value. That's a solid pick there at the
Yeah, as long
90s.
as
It's
Jaren Jackson is out,
96, I think. Yeah.
as long as Jaren Jackson is out, I think he is the guy to own here in Memphis. And he is worth owning.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
even in standard leagues, standard 12 team leagues. Desmond
Yeah, he's top
Bane.
100.
We talked about Desmond Bane in the Boston depth chart just because they're side by side with Jaylen Brown. We put out a poll, and still many managers would rather have Jaylen Brown, would rather pick Jaylen Brown first. Though there are some, I mean, it was like a 70-30 type of poll result. How confident are you that Bane can repeat what he did last year? And how, comfortable are you picking him early this time? Because it's easy when you picked him last or you just picked him up off the waivers and then he gives you what, third round value, second round value. But now it's going to be more difficult.
He was top 30 last year.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think he's gonna be top 30 again this year. I don't think so. I do believe he's a top 50 player. I believe he's a top 50 player, especially with JJJ out. Last year he had the benefit of Ja being out. So right now Ja is still healthy for now. So
yeah, but he
I
was
think
good when Ja was there too. I mean,
he was good, yes, but it's still he got a lot of boost when Ja was out. The scoring for one, I mean, really, really big. So right now, I think Ja's presence is bigger for him than JJJ's absence. but that it still helps him somewhat. So I put him there at the top 50 mark. Confident wise, 90%, 85 to 90%. I think he's gonna be top 50. Will I choose Jaylen Brown over him? Possibly. I've
That's a
been
change of tone. When we talked about Jalen Brown, you said that he'll probably.
possibly. I mean, I could see it because of the health probably and everything. But if you have the right build, you need 3 pointers. You can go with Bane. So he's still a solid pick, mid around the fifth round, somewhere there. If
Player
you're
and
picking him top 30 or top 35, that's
too
crazy.
high, right? That's crazy high.
Too high.
He might, surprise us and give us another top 30 season. But with 1 year, just 1 year of that, that's not enough for me to say that, he's worthy of that. I mean, give me two more seasons, another season wherein you go top 30, then I might consider you top 30 in the next draft next year. Any player who you think surprises here? Really, there's really not much names here that that might be surprising, but maybe we don't know
I guess
much.
we don't have any much more a player really that could surprise. Brandon Clark, again, just to reiterate, he's someone you want to have in your team. So outside of that, I think the question we have to answer is JJJ. I mean, do you think this would be the same situation as 2 years ago where he
Yes.
missed most of the season? Or do
What's
you
his
believe
injury? Foot, right?
stress
Stress
fracture in the
fracture on
foot?
the foot, right?
Yeah. But some rumors out of Memphis is that he's gonna be ready by December or something,
Yeah, that was
or
the rumors then.
I mean early December, not the late December, like something like that. Like he's not worried about it. It's not, and it's not as bad as it seems. The break on the foot is in the position where it's not really that bad or whatever. I don't know
I
what you're,
I can pick him, but I'll probably pick him outside the 100 though.
yeah, that's where he's going.
Yeah,
107.
that's fine. I put him in IL. That's okay. There aren't much IL players, IL eligible players this year, unlike last year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's probably going to be the best there. Okay, you can put at least to start the season, right? Can you think of other players who are in the IL to start the season? I mean, any
Mm,
player better than him? Probably
not,
not, right? So
not. Yeah.
I don't mind picking him outside the 100, um, just to take some risk, put him in an IL. So yeah, that's it. But to expect him to come back in December, I think that's high expectations. I think February.
January.
February. I'll put my expectations on February.
If it's February, man, never mind. Uh, take him.
I mean, I like the under promise over deliver type of expectations. So yeah. Um, so yeah, that's JJJ. If I can stay away, I'll stay away. But if he falls to like 120, that's even better. I think
I
that's
guess the
even
last
better.
player here we can't stop. We can't finish with Memphis without Ja Morant, right? Where just one quick thing. Where do you have him? Is he in the 14th or is he in the
No, I can see him in that second round, late second round.
14 team late second round? Yes, I agree.
Though the area where Cade is, we talked about
Yes,
Cade earlier,
yes.
last episode. I don't also mind picking him over Cade if you're gonna ask that. He's still the top tier player, more exciting player, and he's shown last year that he can get his game to a different level. So I think that's not much risk, unlike Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or Chris Paul, right? Lesser risk here because you know what you're gonna get with Ja. But the only risk here, or maybe not risk, but the only thing that would make you hold your breath with Ja Morant is the way he plays. It's like an injury waiting to happen because of the.
He will miss
I'm not sure
games.
if it's recklessness, but the way he plays is just too
And
exciting, even for the avid
and
fans.
and Memphis knows it. Memphis, that's why they signed Tyus Jones to a big contract, because one of the best backup point guards. They know Ja Morant is not gonna play 82 games. So picking him, I've seen people, again, I'm not saying this is correct, pick him 14, 15. That's really high. That's really a very reckless thing to do. Just like how reckless he plays, that's
Well,
a reckless way of playing fantasy.
just playing the devil's advocate, I think it's just that really there's not much options there. So
Yes,
I
but
might try someone who has higher potential. But again, I think fantasy wise, I think as a superstar, as a star player, Ja Morant has that potential to become a superstar. But fantasy wise, no, that's too high.
if you want to
But
play
I
with
can see
fire,
why.
go with Kyrie. Just go with Kyrie. I mean, just go with Kyrie for me.
Yeah, fantasy
Uh,
wise, Kyrie is a better
yeah,
option actually
yeah.
than
But
Ja
I'll be
Morant.
happy if someone, because is a homer and picks him in the top 12, top 10 to, give us some of the players we like
Yeah.
late in that draft. Yeah.
So yeah, pick him. Pick him in the first round, guys.
Yes,
Pick
yes,
Ja
please.
pick Ja Morant in the first round. All right, that's Memphis. Other any surprises? No,
Nah,
not much, right?
that's it.
The biggest surprise that you might get might be Steven Adams. So last year was a surprise as well, but didn't hold off. All right, let's move on to Miami.
Okay, Miami
Not much
starting five.
changes actually in Miami.
Yeah,
We look
starting
at it.
five, Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, of course. They don't have a power forward. That's the biggest question from the way you look at it right away. No power forward. Caleb Martin is the one slotted here as a starter. I have him as a starter. I have him as a sleeper. Caleb Martin is one player I like because of this depth chart. And then the next question is, do they start Oladipo or Tyler Hero? That's the only other question. So, what's your take on that,
They're gonna start
Vano?
Oladipo.
They're gonna start Oladipo for
Yeah,
you,
I think they're gonna keep Hero there in the 6-man role.
but he
I
doesn't want it.
He doesn't want
He
it. Did they
already,
say it?
yes, he went out and said it that it's time to start me. So I don't know how they're gonna deal with this, though.
Well, that's a disaster waiting to happen, especially if you're in Miami. Um, yeah, I think it's start him, but it's just that he's a great fit there in the 6-man role. I think he fits well the game. He's a nice scorer off the bench. But if he starts, he loses some appeal actually for me, fantasy wise.
If Yeah, but I think they can stagger his minutes with Butler, even if he starts. Considering again they're not a deep team. Also, I actually underwhelmed with their lineup. People are saying they're a contender, but out of all the contenders, this is one of the weaker ones for me.
Yeah, they didn't
Um,
make any changes. I think
yes,
the reason why they're saying they're a contenders because somehow these are solid players like Lowry, Butler, and Bam are probably their big three here. They were good last year, right? They were what, second, first?
second seed. No, they were a top seed, right? They were
Yeah,
a
they were
top
top
seed.
seed. So I
Yeah.
with this lineup as
But
well, they just
he,
didn't improve. They just didn't
yes,
improve.
they did improve. Who was their
The
power forward last year, though?
they have the Morris, right?
Well, Markieff
Markeith,
didn't play for most of the season, so PJ Tucker. They lost
yeah, they
PJ
had
Tucker.
PJ
That's
Tucker.
big. That's big. I mean, no matter what we think of Tucker, he's a big loss for them. The way he defends and everything. So Caleb Martin has a big role to fill. That's why he's my sleeper in this team.
Yeah, but sleeper, not the exciting sleeper that you're talking about.
Yeah, but someone you can target really aggressively. I think outside of 120, 130, Caleb Martin, someone you can really target.
Yeah, he's someone that you can target over Duncan Robinson, who just lost it last year.
Duncan is not draftable. He should
Right?
be
I mean, yeah, but last year he was, right?
yeah.
We were drafting him last year as a specialist, but at this point, Caleb Martin could be the sleeper, but not the really exciting sleeper we're in. You're gonna be proud to say that you drafted Caleb Martin, but definitely he's gonna go higher. He should go higher than players like Duncan Robinson. Uh, um, yeah, so it's very shallow lineup. Butler is another question there at the 14, 13, 14
Well,
onwards.
he's ranked 26 or 27 in Yahoo. He's actually going lower than that in some drafts. It's the old age number one. Number two is he's burned so many people throughout the past few years that people are just shying away from him.
No,
And at one point,
for a guy who's seen as a very tough guy, as a tough guy,
image.
reputation or image. When it comes to injuries, man, he's the softest out there. One of the softest players out there. I mean, I'm not saying it's soft because he couldn't play through the injury, but a minor injury, he'll sit. They'll preserve him.
That's true. That's true.
Uh,
So, he actually becomes a steal already at this point.
at third
Late
round,
20s.
yes, late
Late
20s to
20s.
early 30s, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a steal.
definitely. So he becomes that. Bam Adebayo is a number one ranked player here. He's around late teens, 17, 18, something there. So some people pick him early in the second round. I think that's okay. He disappointed last year, but again, PJ Tucker's absence, and he will need to do more this year. So Bam, I think, should be okay he should end up in the late teens also rank wise, or early 20s. So he won't be far off. Low upside, but the risk is minimal also with Bam Adebayo.
Yeah. Other players that might surprise you, other than
Um,
Caleb, any other player that to watch out for?
has to
Players like Gabe this. I was about to say a while ago, when you were looking for a power forward, I was about to bring out his name. Uh, who signed a what 2 million, 3 million,
yeah,
2.5 billion contract to sit and motivate the guys. But players like Gabe Vincent, Max Struss had some fantasy appeal last year. Do you see the
Not this
same
year.
this year?
The guy
Replacement
actually,
players, I guess.
I know. I think Kyle Lowry is another guy to consider. He's outside the 100 right now in Yahoo. That's low again because last year he was
Is
injured and
it?
everything.
Is it?
No, it's outside the 100. If you're playing 14 team, that's around 7th round already, 6th to 7th round. I think that's very good value for a point guard like Lowry. So, uh, like Butler, he becomes somewhat of a steal because of his very very low position. And I think he's in better shape. He admitted he's in better shape now than last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't really. So another of the bounce back players that you could consider. Very deep league, maybe Haywood Highsmith. Miami always has someone like this that comes out of nowhere, and like Omer Yurtseven last year, players who suddenly become relevant. Highsmith is a power forward actually. This is small forward here. He's a 3-4. So could be he played last year. He played some games last year and he was okay. He was good. So if you're looking for very deep name out of nowhere, Haywood Highsmith is someone to consider.
How about Jovic?
No, too raw. Jovic is too raw.
Yurtseven.
If they're gonna play two bigs, that's okay. But it's clear from interviews with Eric Spoelstra that Yurtseven is basically really just a backup for Adebayo. That's what they said.
Let's just put Yurtseven in those. One of the best fantasy players the coaches hate. Together with Chris Boucher.
In NFL
Paul
terms,
Reed.
he's a good handcuff. He's a good, but of course, it's different in the NBA. You can't really burn a roster spot for someone who's not going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the handcuff. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode of Fantasy Bench Warmers. Another 4 teams we talked about, and didn't really end up in an exciting uh, end to that episode because Miami seems to have didn't really make much changes and not too many exciting plays from that team. All right, that's it. Hope you like this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell to get the updates regularly once as soon as we upload them. We've been uploading clips as well of each team, and of course the whole episode. You can also listen to it in the wherever you hear your podcast. All right, so that's it. We'll see you guys again in the next episode. Bye.